So because I'm recording, just really quickly, first prompt was to conduct a full review of my phaser design. This is a folder that I've pre-built for my phaser game, and it includes all of the information I need to be able to build my game in phaser. And then I've asked it to create a Next.js application, which it's struggling with. There we go. So it's now built that Next.js application. It's already doing a npm install. Yes. And that's still going. 47. Okay, that's completed. While it's still going, I'll just prime the next. Okay, great. Initial phaser game. Please remember for any API, any future backend work, Next.js API routing. What do you think? Should we try and one-shot it? Looks like it's already doing that. I don't even think we need to prompt it at this point. Okay, so it's basically building all of the files that we need. It looks like it's just going to build out the entire base application for it. I think the biggest problem is that we haven't told it to only use shapes and colors. So what it will do sometimes is it will assume that you already have sprites, and it will start basically inventing names and locations of those sprites, even though they don't exist. So actually, before it continues, great, let's continue. But instead of using any sprites, let's just generate our game using shapes and colors. The game is about survival and battle. I want my character, I want a character selection between warrior and archer. I want battle waves on boards as a mini game, but I want my main map to be explorable, i.e. I walk around the map and enter the dungeon, enter the forest, try to one-shot this. Please build out all the to-dos before you start implementation. Okay, so this is a big prompt, but I think it will work because it has everything it needs to know. It has its rules from this phaser game. So I've given it a little bit of what I want here. Basically, it goes into different places on the map, like the forest and the catacombs, and in there it will battle waves of I want to battle waves of monsters. As a mini game, when they enter the forest and the catacombs, we want a little bit of narrative, but before it does anything, I want it to build out all of the to-dos so it has a task list to follow, which is important because if it just starts building, it will add on itself and it will basically do whatever it wants. We don't want it to have that kind of freedom, so the to-dos are really important. Let's see what happens. It's making folders again for whatever fucking reason. So only review what we already have. Don't double up. Yeah, because it started doing the exact same thing again. So let's also take a screenshot. We're reverting the initial prompt just to make sure that it knows what's already in the folder, because it started making the same folders again. And let's see if it makes 19 to-dos, because the last one it did. Okay, so 16, which makes sense because it's not trying to build the project to start off with. Okay, so it's writing its own game design document. So these are all the to-dos that it's currently working on. And obviously it will do it in whatever order it wants to do, which is fine, as long as it does it all. So first one here is design the blood and grit narrative, world structure, survival battle game, which is good. So that was that markdown file that it created. And so it's created the warrior class, the archer with the health, damage, attack range, movement speed, even attack cooldown, which is pretty good. And then it's also added a special ability, charge attack, dashing forward, multi-shot, fires 3 arrows. So it's coming up with what it believes would be good game lore, which is perfect, right? So the world map, we've got a main map with a starting area. We've got a forest, a catacombs, abandoned mine, and a cursed swamp. The location entry system, approach within 50px location, press space. We'll change that to E because space is dumb. Then we've got monster types. It's created new monsters for each of those locations. And then the wave system is wave 1 to 3, basic monsters, 3 to 5 enemies. So we'll increase that because we want more enemies and more kills. We have a progression system. I didn't ask it to add that in there, but it did it anyway. So we're surviving waves to gain experience. We unlock new locations, so that's cool. Instead of having all 4 locations open at once, we unlock each location as we progress. The temporary power-ups during battles, so it's definitely adding stuff in, and the permanent upgrades between sessions. So yeah, for now, because we don't have sprites, everything is just visual design with shapes and colors, and that allows us to have a game within the next hour that we can play, and then we can come back to it later and add those sprites in there. And because that's all been put in our phaser design, we'll be able to easily implement that. Controls, yep, that makes sense. I want to change space to E. Yeah, definitely change it to E. And we're going to get some character stats as well. So let's just have a look at the technical implementation. Phaser 3 with Next.js 15, perfect. Zoostan for game state is good as well. Communication event bus for phaser React phaser integration. Event bus basically allows the phaser engine and our Next.js application to communicate with each other. So when you make a UI, like a main menu or a character stats, you need to build it using HTML. You can build it using Phaser, but because Phaser doesn't use HTML to build UIs, it's actually really messy. AI cannot get it right, and I've tried many times, so it's better just to build using the TypeScript you're in, and then you have that event bus, which allows Phaser and TypeScript to actually communicate and talk to each other. So a main menu, if you press on pause, you're pressing pause in the TypeScript file, which then pauses the phase again, and the event bus does that. The canvas based with geometric shapes, physics, arcade physics for collision detection. So the only thing it doesn't really have here is the container. So we'll see how the container went. Essentially, the container is what the game lives in, and if it's not done correctly, it can turn into an absolute mess. So it's continuing on. It's done 15 of the 16 to-dos. That's pretty crazy. So it's okay. So it's building the container now. Let's get impatient and npm dev did not work. I'm in the wrong file. So npm dev will start up the application, and we'll be able to see what's going on. There is a problem here. Character select. Not really an issue that will stop the build. Let's have a look. So we're hosting it in our local browser. So it hasn't actually set up the game yet. Okay, so we've hit our 25 tool call limit, but we can just go resume the conversation. So essentially this here is because it hasn't updated the main page.tsx with the game container. So it's built all the game in the source file, but then in the app, we've got this page.tsx, and this is still the default for the Next.js application. So essentially, once all of this starts doing it now. So it's basically rewriting this page to import our game from here. That's now been updated, which means we can refresh. All right, so we have some errors. Let's have a look. So the best way to fix errors, let's actually just try this first. So these are the server logs. It's the same error here. You can copy this, or you can just copy this, paste it in. So got our game container UI for character select. So we're definitely going to let it just run its own build here. After we've got this basic game, I'm going to have it evaluate what it's built and evaluate what still needs to be built, and it will do it for us. So building this game config, it's not the worst thing in the world, but ideally, when we move to implementing the mobile version, this will get broken up into small files because it includes directional movement and also the entire game configuration. So where things are placed on the map. So we basically, you know, as we build it, get too big. But we'll see how we go. So it's also got the enemies in there. Yeah. So ideally you have like a monster sheet, you have a map sheet, and these are all separate files because as you build this game config, like if you wanted to add 100 monsters, this is going to turn into a 2000 line document. And that's not good practice. All right, what do you reckon? Is it going to work? I'll do another hard refresh. Start game. Let's go, warrior. Begin your journey. Okay, so it didn't work. Let's have a look at our console. So it's just stuck in a loop trying to build our game, which is probably going to be an easy fix. Looks like it's stuck in a loop trying to start the phaser game. Please review and fix the bug. I say please a lot. It's just part of my person. You don't have to say please when you talk to the AI. Okay, so it's immediately identified the issue. The game is getting stuck in a loop where it's being created and destroyed repeatedly. This is likely happening because the use effect in the phaser container is being triggered multiple times. All right, let's try again. Close the console. With phaser, if you have the console open, it will immediately treat it as a mobile application. Whereas if you have it closed, it's treated as a desktop application. So it's good when you're testing mobile, but basically you've got to start the game in a full desktop version and then open up the console Otherwise, yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. All right, so here we go. We have movements, which is very cool. So see this blue box? That's the hitbox of our character. So it's immediately fucked up, and our character is not centered with our hitbox. So we're just gonna continue anyway. So it did say there was a well, okay, that's weird. So it automatically re-rendered when we went into that box. Let's go over here and try them. Okay. Yeah, so that scene transition did not work. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this. I have a feeling it hasn't built the actual forest map yet. Let's have a look. Yeah, so we've only got the exploration set. So essentially, it's working. Everything that we have built so far is there. So this is a working model, and it looks like we also have our archer. We just don't have any attack or anything like that. So that's pretty impressive, right? With just one shot of working phaser game. And like I said, like it's not going to look good until we start adding in the sprites, but it's super simple. Once those sprites are there, like the game it'll look beautiful. And the thing about this is like you can change, right now it's like a bird eye view. You can change the angle based on the sprites you put in, like with Pokemon. So from here, okay, great. Everything seems to work perfectly. Let's go ahead and build the to-dos so that we can build our mini game dungeons where we fight the monsters. I also want to see the UI for the progression after each stage finishes and results. So I'm trying to do two things at once here. The first thing is actually building out the scenes. So these scenes are every map that we have. Right now, it's just the exploration scene, and so it needs to build out the additional scenes for the forest, catacombs, mines, all that sort of stuff. That's a big job in itself, but then the second job I wanted to do is also to make sure there's UIs there for when we finish the battles. It looks like it's also creating a monster system now, which is good. I didn't ask it to do that, but we'll see what happens. We've got now another 8 to-dos on our list. So create wave-based monster battle minigame system. Implement player movement system. We already have that. Create location entry. Okay, so just with this one here, this implement player movement system, the reason why this is a problem is because what it's actually going to do is we already have a movement system in our game config. So it's likely now going to put the movements directly into the scene, which for right now is completely fine because we're not building out an entire game, we're just building out a simple game. But if you want to build something that has scale, you need to extract as much from these scenes as possible. So the movement should be a movement config.ts where you have your WSAD, you have your attacks, your button presses, all that sort of stuff. And then the scene should import that config file. So you'd have a movement config.ts here, and it would import that movement file directly into the scene. And this means you're not doubling up on code. So scenes are massive in length, especially if it's having to rewrite everything again. So this one's not too bad. It's 387, but this seems like it's going to get pretty big. And the reason why is it's putting everything into it. I don't even know what battle scene is because it's not a specific scene they're going to. So how big is this? So 500 lines. 500 lines is kind of like where you want to max out. So it's made a UI here, wave complete modal. So it's just made this one battle scene, which makes me feel like it's lost context. Because remember, we've got the forest, we've got the mines, catacombs, but now it's just made one battle scene. Like, what the fuck? It's meant to make a forest scene, it's meant to make a mine scene, it's meant to make all of these scenes that we're meant to be able to go to. So these to-dos are useless. Some of them are good, but then it says build React UI, character selection, hard health bars. I mean, half of this is good, but we've already got character selection. And this one here, we've already got the show entry prompt. So it's, sometimes you can't really trust it. Why are we building now back in the page file? I guess this is a problem with one-shotting, is it's let me update the main page to include the battle UI components. So I think what it's doing now is instead of importing the UIs that it's created into the scenes, it's importing it into the page as a standard, which means that we may see it on this screen, which is what we don't want. It's not going to load because there's errors down here. So it reckons it's done, but so we have this, that was already there before, right? Okay, so we have, so it's crashed. First of all, this is a warrior. Why am I shooting my attack? So we're just gonna go here. I'm gonna just screenshot it so it can see the attack is a projectile and it can see the errors. See screenshot. It's frozen when attack hits the monster. 2, the attack for the warrior was a projectile. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Because these errors are here and one of them says projectile, let's have it fix this. Let's just do all of these errors here. There's 8 in total. Paste them in. Right, got a slow prop. It might be able to stop it and do it again. So let's also go to ChatGPT, because I've only ever used Phaser. I've never really explored outside of any other engines, but maybe there are other engines we can use. I primarily use AI to code. Oh yeah, I've heard things about Godot. Full control using code, that's good. Strong 2D engine, better than Phaser. Visual scene tree. IDE friendly and supports external editors. So I've heard that Godot is really good. I've not tried it yet. I might give it a crack next month. I don't recommend using Unity yet. Like it says it can be done within, but it's not. Heavy editor by default. Web first engine with strong performance. Can run in browser. Typically uses visual editor. Less active. I would say if you do want to explore outside of Phaser, Godot would be the best one to go with. Okay, so it fixed whatever error was there before. Let's go back to the game. And we need console. Let's do a hard refresh. Start game. Go the archer this time. Begin your journey. It does not work. So it's breaking shit at this point. So, okay, it's got one more. Wave completed. So I think the issue there was the import of the UIs. It's definitely in a bad place. Let's have a look at what went wrong. So when it did the first fix, there were 9 linter errors, and it continued to be 4, 3, 2, and then there was none. And then they also pasted in the UI component errors, and that's when it started getting messy. So I could probably continue, but I can probably go back to this one. So on the chat, there's like these plus icons here. I can go here and revert everything underneath it if I wanted to. If it got stuck and it was unable to fix it, I would do that. But it looks like it's maybe going to fix it. Hopefully one more. There we go. Okay. So we've got a victory UI, a character select UI, and a wave completed UI. Okay. Fortunately, we got an error. So the error is basically it hasn't finished the implementation of the battle. The monster took damage and the game crashed because it was... Okay, please continue building out the mechanics for the battle scene. Refresh the to-do list and make it more up to date and accurate on where our kind of progress is at. So the to-do list we saw before, like some of these were shit, we don't want it. So it's going to hopefully clear them and create a new list. It's still reading what we're up to. I don't think it's listening to what I'm doing. It just wants to fix the issue. Yeah, so it didn't listen to what I told it to. It just tried to fix it. Now it's going to update it. So having troubles with the game starting, but I think that's because it made such a big change earlier. So I've cancelled the dev server and started it up again. And it's compiling, part successful. And it's continuing. Alright, so it's now got 28 to-dos. It's creating a combat system, proper damage, implementing monster attacks, progression system, full battle completion, visual effects, basic progression. It may refresh because it's building. Yeah. So while it's writing code, it's really hard to play because every time it updates a file, Next.js will auto update the development server. Oh, hang on. Alright, look at that. We have live. Yeah, so it's refreshing because cursor is building. But that's good. So that took how long? Like 20 minutes? Almost 30 minutes to build out a working game. Let's try Archer. I mean, the warrior had a projectile when it shouldn't have, so we do need to go back and fix it. The archer obviously has projectile as well, which is good. And it's even got, see the critical message it had when we killed it. So it's adding stuff in there based on what it thinks we should have. So this is great. The problem is, this is really easy. But when you want to polish and turn it into a game beyond this, it gets really messy really quickly. Which is why it's important to have a good framework to start with. So build this out. Once you've got the basics of what you want, polish the framework. So make sure the containers are correct, make sure your mobile version is correct, your UIs are working properly, the mechanics are working, and then go into polishing, and then go into adding a new feature. If you don't polish and you add a feature, you essentially are going to doom yourself. And if you continue down that path, you'll end up in a place where you can't fix your code base. Adding features on an unpolished code base is basically the worst thing you can do, especially using AI, because if you require a new mechanic in that feature, it might just rewrite or create a duplicate mechanic based off the original code base. And so you now have like 3 different things built in all your features that are essentially the exact same thing. So you need to properly manage the progression of the build. Don't end up in a place where like you've got 5 different features that are all their own build, when they probably could all recycle from each other and use different mechanics and UIs and stuff like that. So just always polish. And the thing is, like, a lot of people don't polish first because for normal developers, they build out the entire thing and then they'll go through and continue to polish. But you can polish in less than a day. So I can build all of this out and I could get this game working perfectly within like the next 8 hours. All the sprites, all the polish, no bugs at all, everything's done. And so that's a really short time frame, right? And so from there, I can now add a new feature. Maybe that takes me half a day. And I can continue going down that path, never introducing a new bug, always reusing my old code, and basically just constantly adding a feature, polishing, adding a new feature, and polishing. And once you get to that point, you'll have a scalable game with a nice, clean code base. But if you get excited and start adding stuff in, putting in new game mechanics without actually like getting the first part complete 100%, it's going to be a bad time. You're basically just throwing ingredients into a bowl and hoping it's going to taste good. So yeah, we've got a month to build whatever game we want. And I think like we're going to be supercharged in that. I've been doing this now for a decent amount of time, so I'll be able to provide you solid support. But I think like, you know, we're going to come to the table with games that other guys may not be even considering is possible. Okay, so we are like, our progression system is good. I don't like that. Can I hit them without? Okay, cool. So the attack range of that is pretty big. So the problem is that it's added projectile to the warrior when he shouldn't have projectile. He should just have a close range attack. So we just need to fix that. We also need to fix where these hitboxes are. See how their hitboxes are around them? Ours need to be the same. Also, these boxes they are debug mode. So if I go in and say turn off debug mode, all of these blue boxes will disappear. And so will the purple lines. So I'm just going to try and go, I think Yeah, wave 10. So let's see what happens when we complete all 10 waves. This is really difficult because I'm not getting any stronger. So really, we should be like getting some power-ups because this is boring, right? There's no dopamine involved here. It's just the same thing over and over, and the only difficulty is that there's more monsters. Like I'm bored, my finger's hurting already. I don't want to do this anymore. I need a power-up. I need to get stronger so I can kill them faster. And I want more like visual dopamine as well. Big scale attacks that do massive damage. They did say there was an ultimate. Oh fuck. I shouldn't have tested it. I shouldn't have tested it. So the ultimate ability just broke the game. Right when I was about to finish. Fuck, that's annoying. Okay, so we have the error here. Essentially, it just hasn't been implemented yet. My ultimate ability frozen. Okay. With this error. Also, fix the warrior as his current attack is a projectile, then it is meant to be a melee. By the way, Cursor responds to any language you want to put in there. So if you want to speak Bahasa Indonesia, it will work with Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah, so it needs to fix the ultimate ability and make sure that the warrior is using melee attacks. The issue is that this character might be undefined, so he's redefining what the character is, the warrior, to handle only archer projectiles for the collision handler, and update the warrior's special ability to be more melee focused. I think the warrior will be harder to play. Hopefully, I can do more damage. So I think maybe what might be a good practice is setting milestones for the build. What do you want to achieve with an MVP? I think right now this is a great MVP. We've got a progression system, we've got a monster wave system that works. So that's our first milestone, is our MVP. What's our second milestone? We could go straight to the polish of the visuals, or we could go for a feature. And work your way down there, right? So set yourself as many milestones as you think you need to get a completed product within a month, and go for that. Unlimited range. Okay, so let's try this again. I could just increase my attack power, but let's see what the warrior's attack is. I think by default his attack is more. So see how this has changed suddenly? The UI is now wider than what it was before. And that's because of this. So it's put more text in here, which has made the UI wider. Something to consider, but I'm not going to care about it now. Okay, so that ultimate was fucked, and this attack is only in one direction. What? Okay, so the warrior is completely broken. I'm not going to play him. Let's go with the archer. Right, so this is the familiar one that we know. Let's see what happens when I press space. We got 3 attacks. Okay, so this one's working. The warrior definitely needs some work. Yeah, I'll try and finish this without breaking it. So the problem is now that, see, the yellow dot will go where my mouse is pointing. So if I aim at him, my hit box on that attack is fucked, right? I want it to be in the middle. So I have to aim just outside of him to get him on the middle. So we need to fix how that hitbox is set up. Essentially, the projectile the hitbox should be in the center. The click should be in the center of the hitbox. The good thing is that the mechanics for the critical hits work. So there's small things like that which contribute to a polished game. That's already done. Kind of want this to be over. See what I mean? Like, without real progression, this is just like the same shit over and over. And it's not fun at all. Like, this won't win you money. And the ultimate ability is weak. How often can I do it? It must be like a cooldown. Okay. This is going to be harder to do. Hopefully I don't die.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Victory. Cool. So you gave me a victory payout and game over at the same time. Oh, it's so annoying. Okay, so I mean that sucks. Here we go. We're back to our victory page. So I've got experience here. I've got my gold location unlocked, whatever that is. I completed it with 0 health. And it gave me a performance. So let's return to exploration. So now we're in a point where we've completed the entire cycle of the game. It's tried to bring back the game, but it's not worked because it hasn't properly shut down and restarted our scenes. So yeah, there's parts of this that haven't been set up properly. Good thing is we can just come here, get the last little bits of what we need, and we can paste that in. Problem is, testing that again means we have to play the whole game again, which I'm not going to do. So in testing, essentially, I just make my attack power one-shot all of the enemies so I can quickly go through the stages, and then I can go back to that end screen again and make sure it's working. I'm not going to waste our time doing that. It has 26 to-dos. I don't think it's reading that properly. But yeah, I mean, there's things that I know about Phaser that make this look easy, and I understand that maybe it's not that easy for you guys, but using the framework that we have, I'm confident this one here, I'm confident that you'll be able to build a game like this. And if you spend your time prompting and researching how to polish, get that base MVP really nice, then you can do things like adding in additional features. Maybe you want them to pick up items and turn those items into NFTs. So that would be a big piece for any Web3 game. If an item becomes an NFT, immediately it's a blockchain game that people want to play because it's play to earn. So adding a small feature like that can completely change how the game works, and make people want to play your game and obviously qualify you for this hackathon. So have a think about it. I believe that anything is possible. So if you have an idea, work on that idea, try to build out the game theory behind it. What do you want to build? And then let's talk about if it's possible or not. And if it's broken up into nice clean sections, then you could probably build a really great game. Also, I was watching the live stream last night for the hackathon. Your FOMO pools isn't going to qualify. They want games. Yeah. So there's no gambling on there at all. They want playable games. And I think the lowest effort game that you could do would be a text-based game where you are deciding an outcome. But that's the lowest form of a game. Anything above that would be playable games, and anything else that goes on there. So if you want to submit, probably will need to build something else. I don't think FOMO Pulse is going to get through. Which means maybe you guys can work on something again, because you are obviously good at creative programs. And if you spend your time learning how to build the game, then you could both come together and create a Web3 game. If you build a program for using Metaplex NFT protocol, maybe tokens as well, earnable tokens that they can buy and spend, get NFTs in the game. If you guys work on that together, you could probably create a really nice blockchain game. Yeah, so you figure that out, right? Because if you're going to be building the program, then your only job is to build a program that works. And then, because it's no matter what, it's going to work integrated into the game. So if you build out the program for it and he works on the game, then you can decide at what point are we going to be using the program. So it's you simply focus on a program that is creating player PDAs, is minting NFTs, is earning tokens, and then he can build the game so that we can use that program. Items drop, it turns into an NFT, calls that program, and the NFT is minted and they have it in their video. So it's about understanding your role within that team, figuring out what you want to actually build, and then putting together the architecture for it, using the markdown files, and then building it out. It's really not that complicated. It's yeah. And then when you get to a point where maybe the programs are finished, what do you want to do from there? Then you can kind of talk about how you're going to work on the game. Because obviously you both can't work in the same repo. Especially for a phaser game, I would advise against it. So then maybe you could move towards like upgrading the UI for upgrading the design for the front ends for the UIs. So the start menu, the character stats page, you can generate that using Cursor, but it always looks the same. Every game you build, Cursor always creates almost identical UI screens. So maybe you can jump in and start building out those UIs because they're separate files. And you can build that UI without interrupting the game creation. There's different parts you can work on together to get the game from 0 to 1, I think. But yeah, have a think about it. Have a think about what you want to do. Otherwise, you guys can just build your own game, which I like. You can do that if you want. More opportunities to make money. All right, so that's done.